On this scan tool review, we're actually going to do the Kingbolen K10. Look at the size of that thing. That is a big screen. That's 10 inches. And right here we have the CRP 919 that I've reviewed before. Now that's a 7-inch screen. This big one is actually just a couple $100 more than this smaller one. And this one actually packs a bunch more features. So what we're going to do is hook this up to the 2024 Silverado ZR2 with the 3.0 Duramax diesel. We're going to go into there and show a couple things that this scan tool can do. It is quite impressive with this bigger screen. Let's go ahead and get into it. These scan tools often go on sale, so be sure to click the links in the description to see the most current price on these. We're going to go ahead and set this CRP 919 aside, and I want to point out that the K10 Elite that I have is actually the corded version. As you can see right down there, it's long enough to go ahead and attach to the front of the steering wheel like this. So we've got it latched onto the back with just a little rest. You can use that if you're going to use it on a bench or anything else. There is also an option for the Bluetooth wireless version, and then you can go throughout the shop with it. Me personally, I like the ones with the cords on them because then you don't have to worry about the charge in it. You can just plug it in and it's going to be good to go. And I think that's a huge benefit in my application. Yours may vary, but just an option out there. I think it's like $50 to $100 more for the Bluetooth version, but whichever you prefer. Like I said, I prefer the corded one, and that's what we're working with right now. All right, like I said, we do have this hooked up to my 2024 Silverado ZR2 with the 3.0 Duramax diesel. Let's go ahead and click diagnosis. We're going to go ahead and just do a scan on this vehicle. Now you can see all of the available options. This one will actually do over 150 car makes, and which is surprising because the CRP 919 that I showed before actually does 100 plus. So getting the larger scan tool, you actually get better internals, so it's going to make it a little bit quicker, and also you're going to get more available to you. So I'm just going to click American right here so we can see the Chevrolet GM side of things. Now I'm going to go ahead and just click Chevrolet. And this is going to go over what options we have, and then you can click vehicle coverage, which we will actually, so you can see the vehicle coverage that is included with this. Now this is all in real time, so you can see just how long it takes for things to populate, but we're not actually going to go through this because this is 1 through 10 of 110,000. So we're going to go ahead and just go back, and we're going to click OK, and that's going to open up the screen in order for us to start doing what we need to do. All right, we're going to start off with automatically search because we may as well utilize this as best as we can, and it will pull up the VIN number, the full build. This is a 2024 truck, as you can see right there. Vehicle source Mexico, that's correct. It is a Mexico built truck, and 3.0 liter LZ0. That's all good stuff right there. I mean, it nailed it right off the bat. Now, whoa, look at this. This is the system topology. So what we could do is do a full system scan, and it's going to go through every single module. And some of these you may not have within your vehicle. I may not have within my vehicle. So we're just going to do smart scan and let it just go through the whole system. Now, green means that it's talking to it. And if it shows up red, then that means that it's either there's an issue with it or there's a code set in there. Now you can see a 2, 2, and 3 right there. Now a lot of these, I don't know what they stand for, but they may stand for certain things with different makes and models. But the main ones that I like to see, ECM, TCM, EBCM. So that's the engine control module, transmission control module, electronic brake control module. We're just about finished through here. And then we're going to get to see a full scan of what it actually read. And hopefully I don't have any major issues within this. I do like that the ECM did light up green. That just goes to show that we don't have any codes in there, thankfully. And there we go. Now what we could do is click report. And that will allow me to, if you have it set up, you can actually email this off. All of this, it's all just loss of communications here and there because I've been messing around with this, so we just don't want to do anything. But what we could do is clear ECM or clear DTCs if we wanted to. Let's click ECM, no codes. So now we are in the system. Stop start system. Let's make a selection. Okay, so either not equipped or we are equipped. We are equipped. And so we went straight into the ECM just by clicking that. And now we can, let's go into, we're going to go to read data stream in a little bit because you can do, I believe it's 10 No, excuse me, it's 12 items that you could be graphing at one time, but we've got actuation tests. We're just going to touch the special functions. You can see how quick this is. And injector flow rate programming. So this is a big deal because whenever you do a fuel injector replacement, you need to program the identifier or the code that is on the injector. And I actually have a video where I did that with the scan tool. And I programmed, it was an L5P fuel injector. But, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You just type in the numbers, and you're good to go. So, we're going to go into reset functions. Now, there's a lot of resets in here. But, let's go through just to kind of show what options you do have available. Now, with some of the lower-end scan tools, you'll see that it shows a lot of this stuff in there. And then when you go to click on it, it'll actually have an error, or it won't be able to do it. But in this case, if I clicked reset, it would reset my fuel injection small quantity data. Now that's a big one because that's something that you do whenever you replace the fuel injectors. There's the high pressure fuel variable reset, which is also something that you should do whenever you replace the fuel injectors. It actually says that in the General Motors service information. So that just allows the injectors to relearn the high pressure fuel variable, obviously. So we're not doing that, because my truck is doing just fine. And you can see barometric pressure sensor reset. I do have a video on how to clean that. That's actually on the Duramax news channel. But you can clean that and then go in there and just go ahead and reset that. Now, a lot of people don't, and the trucks seem to be okay with that. But to do it properly, you do want to do the reset anytime you clean it or replace it. And obviously, all of these are when you're replacing these parts. Let's go to the learn functions. Coolant control valve learn. So there's two of them there. I don't know what the difference is between the two, but they are on there. Crankshaft position variation learn. That is needed whenever you do like a crankshaft position sensor or you replace the engine. Turbocharger, supercharger, boost control, initial position learn. Now, this is a good one. I had somebody reach out to me because they had bought a scan tool and they were trying to replace the turbo solenoid. Or the actuator, excuse me. So they replaced it, and then they were able to do this. And that was actually with the CRP 919, the lower end version of the scan tool. So that one is a good one to have. All right, now that we've seen all of this, we could click the clear DTCs. In fact, I don't care about those DTCs because I probably caused most of them by messing around with this. So we're just going to clear all the DTCs right now. And then we're going to go back and go straight into the functions. I also want to point out, too, that if you clear the DTCs with the vehicle running, a lot of these will not clear. It actually has to just be key on, engine off, which is the case right now. And I'm doing that for multiple reasons. One, I have the battery tender hooked up. And the other reason is noise. I don't want to deal with the extra noise. So we have this. We could either just click on these right here, but let's just go into system list. I actually haven't done this, but common functions. That's going to go straight into the transmission there. So we have the MQC. And then this is asking what radio I have. I do have the IOR radio. And this is just collecting all of the information that this vehicle is equipped with, and we've just got to get through, and it's going to pull up whatever it's going to pull up right now. I have not gone this direction with this scan tool, so this is all. We do have driver seat memory A45, parking assist with rear sensors. We do not have front and rear sensors. ZR2 only has the rears. There we go. So this is a screen I have not seen. Look at that. Engine power balance monitoring. Brake pad replacement. A lot of people ask about brake pad replacement. I don't want to mess with my keys because they're working good. There's a regeneration of the particulate filter. So that's going to allow you to do a stationary regen or a mobile regen where you're driving. We could do Windows calibration. I'm really curious on this cylinder power balance, how well this feature works. It's going to make me start the truck. Let's do it. All right. All right, so we're able to see the fuel injector command. I do like that. So what we could do from here, let's say you have smoke coming out from the tailpipe and you want to pin down which injector it is. So what we want to do is, let's say we're looking at these and one of these is way high. Okay, it's way out of the ordinary. Luckily in my case, they are all within the same numbers, but let's say number 2, I want to kill number 2. So right there, I can feel it. So now I have a dead miss in cylinder number 2, and what that's doing is shutting down that cylinder. So now we can look out at the tailpipe, and if the smoke is gone, then we know that number 2 is the culprit of the smoke. Now I just killed number 1 also, and that's the same thing. So we back out of that. We're sitting okay. That was very fast. I do like how quick and efficient that is. That's going to work really well. Maybe not on the 3.0 Duramax case because of all the exhaust filters, but let's say I'm dealing with an older Duramax, like let's say an LB7. You know, if you're familiar with the LB7 fuel injectors, they go out, and if you kill the injectors, you can at least know which bank to do. You don't do one fuel injector with those, you do a whole bank at least, and I recommend you do all 8 of them. But anyway, we got to see the power balancing. That is pretty cool. It worked really well on this truck, and I'm happy to see that. Now, I want to see injector coating. And there we go. There's the... Man, look at that. They put all the stuff in there that you need. Right? Well, except for the high pressure. That would have been cool if they had the high pressure reset. As we can see, there's a lot of features in there. Small quantity data reset. And then the reductant injector reset. You're going to need to do that whenever you replace a reductant injector. All right, here we have all of our modules in front of us. Now let's go to the electronic brake control module, and we're going to see what special functions we have. So we have the automated brake bleed. Somebody had asked about that in prior video. So there we go. We've got that available. Front and rear brake pad reset, steering wheel angle sensor relearn. That's pretty cool because whenever you do an alignment or whatever, you need to recenter the steering wheel and make sure that the angle sensor is correct. If not, then you're going to get some different issues with that. So we do have park brake calibration. Very nice, very nice. So you could do data streams. Let's go ahead and go back. I like to see that. Hopefully that answered some questions for some people on that. Suspension control module. I don't have active suspension, so we really can't do anything with that. We have IPC if you have any codes or need to test anything in there, which we don't. A lot of options throughout here, that's for sure. All right, so we can see the whole scan right there. Let's go ahead and go into the transmission control module and see what we can do inside there. We do have the MQC transmission. Let's go and do special functions. We could throw the transmission into fast learn and adaptive pressure reset. Now, I highly suggest you don't go tinkering in here unless you've done something that requires you to do one of these 2 options. But as you can see how quickly that this works once you click on something, high side driver 1 and 2, and you could do quite a bit on here. We're not going to be playing around with my transmission valve body, as we know that these things are extremely fragile with these valve bodies. So don't go messing around in there if you don't have the ability to fix it, or if you don't have a reason to, is all that I'm suggesting. Let's go into engine control module, and what we can do is let's do actuation tests, see what options we have inside here. So the active grill shutter, that's good. Cooling fans, we could play around with that. Let's listen to see if we can hear this. We'll do number 3. So we'll pull it up, and then we should have to activate it. Number 3 is the lower one. That's for your charge air cooler radiator itself. All right, let's go ahead and increase this. We are at 80%. You hear it? All right, we can release control. So we just confirmed that cooling fan 3 works. Now, obviously, you can do that with the other fans and verify that those are working. That's a handy little trick. What I want to see, oh, look, here's the EGR valve. what can we do within the ECM for the EGR valve? These LZ0s seem to have an issue with EGR valve number 1. So you can just turn it on and off. So we're not even going to mess with that. Because like I said, this is an LZ0 and there are issues that could be on there. Let's see. Intake manifold runner control valve. That's good to see on there. Fuel system. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. We could prime the fuel pump. Oh, that's neat. We could see the fuel pressure, so we could probably command the fuel pump on and see the fuel pressure itself. Let's go ahead and take a peek in there. Start the engine. I'm not starting the engine. Sorry. Condition not satisfied. It's because I won't start it. Cylinder power balance. We showed that. That is a neat feature in itself. All right, what else do we have in here? So there's the regen. You could do a manual regen. This is a service regen and then a regen enable. So the difference between these two is you do the regen enable, and then on your next drive cycle, it's going to actually go into a regen whether you need it or not. And I don't suggest anybody do this unless you have a valid reason on doing it. Don't mess around with stuff that you don't know what you're doing. And this particulate filter service regen, that's where I have a video where I actually used the Banks gauges, and I did that on the side of the road with the hood up, and it made a bunch of noise. So there's only limited circumstances where you need to do that. So I don't suggest anybody really do that unless you absolutely need to. So here's where you could test your engine coolant control valve. We know that those go on back order quite often, so I'm not going to touch that. Glow plugs. We can take a look at our glow plugs. There's nothing wrong with that. In case you didn't know, glow plugs are a one-time use. So if you're going to pull out your glow plugs, that is being replaced. And be sure you torque it down whenever you put in the new one. And we're not touching these. So as you can see, we can command them on. All right, engine coolant fill. What else do we want to see on here? We got the reductant system. Let's go ahead and take a look at the reductant system, the possibilities. So you could do a reductant injector 2 quantity test, injector number 1. That's pretty good. There's a lot of good stuff here. So the reductant system leak test, that's going to pressurize it, and then you can crawl underneath and take a look. This is this is a large amount of stuff. This is pretty close to a dealership level tool, but all these options to be able to do this is really good. There's your reductant injector 2. So if you wanted to turn that on to spray, you could do the quantity test with it right there. That's what I was referring to earlier. But there's your 1, there's your 2. That's where you remove the injector and then you command it on, and then what you can do is see how much is actually flowing out. You can see the spray pattern on it. It's all good stuff right there. Malfunction warning service bay test. So if you're locked out on the cluster, then you can go ahead and run these tests, and then they'll hopefully, if they pass, then they'll reset and allow you to continue driving. But again, only do this stuff if you absolutely need to. But hopefully you could see that this scan tool, I mean, with a big screen, this is super awesome. I mean, it's very clear. Like I said, you can have up to 12 items data graphing on here at one time. It's a very quick, very, very nice. This is definitely, right now, this is my favorite scan tool. And you've seen that I've tested quite a bit, but this one is just, it's so quick. You can scan the whole system. You can go in there. You could do so much with it. We're not having any issues where it's timing out or anything like that. Everything that we're trying to do on it is functioning the way that it should be. But if you're in the market for a scan tool, you know, there's different levels. So hopefully my videos help you make that decision on how much do you want to spend. What are you going to get if you spend a little bit more? I mean, there's obviously under $100 is an option for one. You have a couple $100 for the mid-level option, like the CRP 919. I think that one's great. So many options. I think this is probably my 6th or 7th scan tool that I've shown on this channel. So if this helped you out at all, be sure to leave a comment. Let me know how it helped, what you ended up getting, or if you got nothing, that's fine too. Tell me. But till next time, see ya.